Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's your girl Becky D live in the morning, 5 days a week at 7 a.m. You guys, I gotta tell you, I'm still gonna be talking about, that lip service, right? That talking, that communication thing. But I'm just so grateful to be able to have an example, a very great example to use in order to talk about this, okay? So on yesterday, and just to segue what's going on, so it makes sense. I'm not supposed to have certain things. I'm supposed to be on a certain dietary restriction diet kind of thing, due to my many allergies in life. And that's where we're gonna keep that at. And so I've been kind of splurging on myself for the month of February and probably a few months before that too. Not going to give away all of my business, but what has happened is I have, been really working hard to make sure that in March I get back on track because my body can definitely tell that I have been bad. Okay, we're going to use that term. I have not been well behaved when it comes to doing the things that I need to do. But I say all that to say to let you know that I went to an establishment where I live at, and I got a meal that I have not been able to eat for years now, it feels like. And so I was really excited, right? And, just dust off my car from all the salt from the roads of what we call snow, which is more so ice than anything. And I'm not, I have a headache. I'm not really focused on anything. I'm not having a bad day. I just recognize that I have a headache. And I get in line, order. The lady on the intercom is beautiful, okay? She's full of spirit, just, happy to take my order kind of thing, right? And then I get to the window to pay after this truck in front of me literally takes what I think is half the store's food because they was handing this dude bag after bag after bag after bag. And I'm sitting there behind him going, oh my gosh, I may have to wait an hour just for them to cook some more food. But thankfully I didn't. And then I got to meet this young man named Anthony. Okay. Amazing man. When I pulled up, he, greeted me. You could see the frustration in his face. And then he hands me my drink and he's asking, he was like, yeah, you got a Pepsi, right? And I'm like, yeah, I did get a Pepsi. Okay, I'm not drinking Pepsi anymore in March, trust me. I'm a Coke person. And so he's just sitting, he's like, man. And, I just hear him, making all these comments. And I was like, dude, what's up? Like, what's good? I'm not mad by it or anything. And I'm not angered that he's making these comments. But he's just like, I'm about to go to jail. These people are here. And then, like, he's talking to the other people. And he's like, this doesn't make sense. Like, that car done pissed me off. I mean, he's just going on and on. And I was like, dude, you don't have to go to jail today. And I'm trying to get him to talk to me. I'm trying to get him to see me, right? And then he finally takes a second. He looks at me and he was like, I'm just frustrated. And he was like, no one's listening and it's just everywhere. And as soon as he says that, what happens? Somebody tries to hand him food. He was like, no, we do not need that anymore. You rang up the order wrong. I need the next car's food, right? And like he's trying to give them direction, but nobody's listening. And so he looks at me very sweetly. And he says, would you mind pulling up, in front of the truck and have a park right there? He's like, I'll make sure somebody brings your food out. Again, I'm not in any rush. Okay, my bladder was a little full, but I can hold it, right? Because I already paid for my food. But but the thing was, he said the biggest thing that happens so many times in relationships, in our work, or anything, right? I'm trying to explain what's going on, but nobody wants to listen. Okay, I feel for Anthony today. All right, I really do. And the beautiful part is Anthony is such a common name that I'm pretty sure no one would know what Anthony I'm talking about. Only the Anthony would know that I'm talking about him. Okay. So I feel comfortable saying his name. Now, if that's not his name, that's what it said on my receipt. But I was able to try to have a conversation with him amongst all of his commotion, right? It's a technique that you learn in various situations of how to calm a situation. So I was able to calm it down. Now, if for some reason I check the dashboard and headlines, and it says man, goes off and kills half of his coworkers, I know that guy, and his name will be Anthony. It'll be on the headlines, and I will reference this podcast and just go on and just let them know that it started off very beautifully before it turned into a disaster. But he said it better than anybody else could, right? There's a Gretchen Wilson song called Come to Bed. If you have time, listen to it, all right? Very good, not paid or anything like that, not trying to take copyright. But she literally talks about how everyone's screaming, but nobody's listening, right? We tend to do that. We go back and forth with this banter, right? And we're yelling at each other, and we're just going back and forth the same way they were in that kitchen. They're just screaming at each other and yelling these things. It was like, why haven't you gotten that? And he was like, well, we don't need it anymore. You ranged it up wrong. We don't need this. Please get it from in front of me so we can keep the process moving. And they're still trying to hand him the same thing. And he's keep telling them, like, you guys, we don't need it. We don't need it, right? But why won't they listen? Because we have been told that our way of thinking is always right. You're wrong. Instead of just trying to open the line of communication, right? Say, hey, I understand that you are trying to give me this food. That car's order was rung up wrong. We no longer need it. Let's sit it to the side. Whatever they do, 86, whatever they do in the restaurant business, I'm not sure. Every time I tried to apply to McDonald's, they never hired me. One told me I was overqualified, but that's neither here nor there. So they're just going back and forth, this constant commotion, this constant arguing, and nothing is being resolved. If anything, it's slowing them down, and it's bringing out bad service, right? Again, with me, it wasn't bad service. I still had a great time, and I was still able to get my food, and it is still good and delicious, right? So it didn't affect me, but I know that could affect somebody else, right? Sometimes the emotions of others can start to rub off on you, and that's kind of sets the tone for your day or your night or whatever the case may be. So are we going back and forth, yelling and all this stuff, and not listening anymore? Can we stop that in our day-to-day lives, in our, especially our place of business, but more importantly, inside of our homes, right? If we need to take a second, calm down, and then come back, regroup, regather, or whatever the case may be, then we do that. But we do not need to do the constant back and forth where nothing is really being communicated and everything is being screamed and yelled and just, thrown down your throat. That is the thing that we do not need to do, and we need to do better. Okay? So today I challenge you to do that. Not force, but, promote having better communication inside of your home, inside of your place of business, inside of wherever you're going to be at. All right. Just say, hey, I think that we need to work on our communication. Okay. One thing that I implement inside of my classroom is definitely the form of communication. I tell them all the time, you should be able to communicate with the person that's beside you. If you cannot, then that may be a problem. Because they always come up to me, why do I have to sit by her? She doesn't like me. She ain't gotta like you in order to communicate, you guys. It's not World War II where as soon as I sit you next to somebody, they about to pop off like a landmine. Now, there are the special occasions where there's been threat made and stuff like that. That makes sense. But if this person is genuinely just trying to sit next to you, it should not be that big of a problem, all right? Sorry about going over my 7 minutes today. This is just really, really, really good to me that I have an example that actually happened just like yesterday, so I can use it, right? But as always, you guys, my name is Becky D with Becky D in the Morning, and I will definitely be talking with you all tomorrow morning.